to the second story that we're debating. Karnataka High Court today heard the hijab issue and saw some heated arguments on whether hijab is an essential religious practice in Islam. But what has raised eyebrows is the application filed by a petitioner student in this case. The plea seeks the postponement of hearing till the completion of election in 5 states. In the application, which is up on the screen, the petitioner argues that political parties are trying to derive political gains from the situation and are polarizing for votes. In fact, there were similar arguments that were made in the court today. A lawyer representing the petitioner in fact stated that proceedings could affect voting in other states. However, the judge responded saying the court will consider postponement of hearing if such a request is made by the Election Commission or some other authority. Now, the filing of a fresh application puts question marks on the intention of the petitioners. Are they concerned about their rights, or is there a larger political motive to the fight?
You're watching the News Hour at 10, debate number 2 on Times Now, Super Prime Time.
Let me take this across to our guest. Joining us with us is Sanju Verma, who is in fact a national spokesperson of the BJP. We have with us Ratan Char, the author. Shoaib Jamei is an Islamic scholar. But I first and foremost want to go across to Ifra Jan, who's an additional spokesperson of the National Conference. Ifra Jan, very simple question at the moment. You know, one can understand a fight for one's own rights, and one believes that the Constitution and the rights that it provides is not being granted to a person or is being violated by a particular government, whether at the state or the center, and appeals to the High Court for it. But what is, many would find surprising is that all of this is being directly linked to the polls. It's being said that because there are elections on, the court should defer this hearing, and that is an argument that even the court was not willing to hear.
The court, it's nowhere did the court say that they're not willing to hear this argument. They said that they're ready to accept this argument if it comes from the Election Commission of India, and they would very gladly accept the suggestion. But, coming to your larger question, these girls have been wearing the hijab for a very long time. Even if you remember your own experience from high schools and colleges, as do I remember, many Muslim girls used to wear headscarves. I'm sure everybody who's watching this show has seen girls in their schools and colleges wearing headscarves. Never was it a problem. So when suddenly, all of a sudden, the college administration under the BJP government in Karnataka suddenly decides not to allow girls from a particular community inside the campus because they were wearing a hijab, it was very, very clear that this issue was being stirred up by the BJP government in Karnataka so that they could actually use the benefit of it in Uttar Pradesh, where they're losing when it comes to the debate on employment, unemployment, security for women, jobs, all the promises that they've done. When they're losing that plot in Uttar Pradesh on everything, they're now coming up
with... If I can just come in, Ifra Jan, if I can just come in, you yourself contradicted what you were saying. I was saying exactly this. It's an argument that was not accepted on part of the petitioner. They said that let some other constitutional body say it. They certainly did not buy this argument. But I'm going to allow the BJP spokesperson to come in now to the point that you're making, that the BJP is trying to, make some kind of political capital out of this as far as the UP elections are concerned. Sanju Verma.
Okay, thank you, Madhav. Madhav, first and foremost, let me tell you, we've done this over and over again. But, for the benefit of your audience, Bombay High Court in 2003, Madras High Court in 2006, Kerala High Court in 2018, and Supreme Court in 2015 said the hijab is not needed. Supreme Court in 2015 went to the extent of telling a petitioner who wanted to wear hijab for the AIPMT exam that if you don't wear hijab for a day, your faith will not vanish. Stop making this into an ego issue. The more important point is that the very lawyers, petitioners, Muslim activists who say, we believe in the rights and equality under Article 14 and under Article 15. We believe in the right to practice our religion under Article 25. Forget that the same Constitution says every fundamental right is subject to reasonable restrictions and subject to public order, morality and health. The third and most important point, Madhav, is that there is no blanket ban on hijab in Karnataka. But if a particular school or college has a dress code, a uniform code, then that dress needs to be complied with and adhered to. I have studied in a convent. Many of us have studied in Christian missionary-run schools. I was not allowed to sport a Rudrakshmala or to wear a tilak or come to school with a saffron shawl or even on Raksha Bandhan wear a Rakhi. So this whole narrative that, people go to schools with Rudrakshmala and tilak is a lot of hogwash. And now the most important point. The most important point that hijab wearing activists have been saying in their favor is that it is our right to privacy given under the Puttaswamy judgment. So your audience needs to know, Madhav, that yes, the Puttaswamy judgment does say that the right to privacy is a fundamental right.
Okay.
But the same Puttaswamy judgment also says that the center cannot encroach on the prerogative of the state, and education under the 7th schedule of the Constitution is a state subject, and this particular school, which is asking children not to wear hijab, is governed by the Karnataka High Education Act of 1983.
Right.
Stop misleading people. This is not a Sharia state.
Okay, I'm going to come to you.
We are not Malaysia. We are not Pakistan.
Okay.
We are not Iran. We are not Egypt.
Incidentally, that came up before the court as well today. That point was also raised by the court. Let's quickly now go across to our other panelist, Shoaib Jamei. I'm just going to read out 2 sentences from what I believe is his petition, and it says that I state that the general election in 6 states are going on, and facts of this case are being used by political parties out of context for their political gain to polarize and putting community against each other, which is not healthy sign in a pluralistic, democratic and secular nation like ours. I state that the consideration of this interlocutory application is necessary to prevent possible division among citizens, and therefore, in fact, they have prayed that this entire matter be postponed. Now, a simple question to you, sir, is this. All right, I believe we have a tweet also there by Tejasvi Surya where he says that clearly indicating this is a manufactured conspiracy. Students pressing for urgent interim order in the hijab matter till yesterday are today seeking adjournment until the end of UP polls. What does polls have to do with enforcement of what they describe as an inviolable fundamental right? I think that's a very, very basic question. Till yesterday, Mr. Jamei, urgent hearing was being sought of. Now, suddenly, there is this argument that comes in that this is, being dictated because of UP polls. Please postpone it for a few weeks. Now, there has to be some consistency in the argument.
Madhav, there is a saying which I have just coined right now कि जनता को बेवकूफ है बनाना, जैसे तैसे यूपी चुनाव को बीजेपी को जिताना, इसलिए हिजाब है बहाना. But this is not a banana republic. This is the strongest democracy in the world. And Uttar Pradesh, people of Uttar Pradesh and other election states, the election is ongoing. They understand what is the agenda of the BJP to divide the society. The foremost important thing is that, and I want to reply to the BJP spokesperson, no explanation, no logic can justify this, that you can snatch the right to education to Muslim girls just for wearing
Nobody is
hijab.
snatching the
Sir,
right
who is
to
snatching the right, sir?
If there is a uniform,
All right, and let the courts decide that. Let the court decide
if
that.
there is a uniform, you need to wear a uniform. If there is a rule, you need to comply with the rule.
Everyone is wearing, Madhav.
India is not a Sharia state.
Oh my God.
India is not Malaysia.
No, sir, it's a section of girls who have started wearing the hijab is what the administration says, and they say that these girls, of course, the petitioner today claimed that they have been wearing it since they took admission, but there are other issues. I want to stick to the one second, Mr. Jamei, I'm not going to second guess what the courts will do. Let the courts decide whether it is acceptable or not. But we are on the limited point of it being linked to the polls. And I want to bring in Ratan Sharda. Ratan Sharda, both our panelists, Ifra Jain as well as Mr. Shoaib Jamei, seem to agree with the petitioner in this case. And if these petitioners are indeed... One second. Shoaib Jamei, you have made your point. Now let others come in as well. Ratan Sharda, simple point and simple question being asked over here is that what do these petitioners have to do with the Uttar Pradesh polls? Why is it that such a sensitive matter is being linked to polls? Ratan Sharda.
This entire argument, the Islamist, is so funny that there are so full of holes that even stones will pass through the arguments. First of all, the question was discipline in education institutions. It was about uniform. It became a religious issue. Who made it a religious issue? These very Islamists. Then now they claim it is a political issue. Who made a political issue? You made a political issue by spreading the fire across India. Did BJP create those morchas all over India? No, sir, your own brothers and sisters created it. They created the entire situation and the entire India as if Islam was खतरे में. अरे आपको मेरे डोका का चुप करिए थोड़ी देर. आपके सारे irrational बातें बाहर आ जाएंगी, चुप करिए थोड़ी देर. अभी आप घबरा रहे हैं, आप घबरा रहे हैं जब आपकी पोल खोल रही है. So these people now find that the atmosphere is not suitable to them. Madhav, this is not the way.
Okay, gentlemen, one at a time, sir. Mr. Jamei, I'll allow you to respond to Mr. Sharda. Let him speak. I'll allow you a response. Mr. Jamei, I will allow you a response. Let him have a say. Let him make his point. I'll come back to you.
They kept on spreading poison and did not speak.
Mr. Jamei,
This man and woman,
I am requesting you, sir, please hold on to your thoughts for 30 seconds. Let Mr. Sharda make his point.
Did I interrupt them when they were spreading poison?
I'm coming to you. Let him make his point. I'm coming back to you. Please hold on. We cannot have a debate like this. We cannot have a debate like this, Mr. Shoaib Jamei. I'm going to lower your feather otherwise. For the third time.
Argument, they are afraid of the truth.
Okay, feather lowered. Mr. Ratan Sharda, please make your point.
I did not heckle them even once.
Make your point, sir. Please go ahead.
All kinds of stupid allegations I kept quiet because they were irrational. Now, secondly, when they talk about today's argument, what happened? Is this an essential part of Islam? Yes. Essential part of Islam is that a man can have 4 women. He can divorce any woman anytime. Is it acceptable? That woman is a tilling field for the man. Is it acceptable? And lastly, when these people go to the courts, do they know that they are going to the courts asking for superiority of Sharia over constitution? What kind of joke is this? And lastly, the girl here sitting without covering her head, she is no more a mu'min, she is a munafiq. Because as per Quran, the women must behave in a certain way.
Okay.
They don't have a liberty like Hindus have, that I can do this or I can do that. There are clear-cut rules. Are they following the rules?
Okay, I'm going to allow Shoaib Jamei a chance to respond to that. I'm coming to you. Ifran Jan, I'm coming to you. Shoaib Jamei, simple question is this.
Are you fooling people?
Yes.
Either you say we follow Quran,
okay.
or you have created a political...
Okay. Mr. Ratan Sharda, these are points that have been discussed by the court. The court today asked Mr. Shoaib Jamei, where in the Quran is it given as a violation of the religion if the hijab is not worn? Where is that specified in the Quran? Because they have gone through this entire argument about whether it is an essential practice or not. 1 second, Mr. Sharda, now let Shoaib Jamei come in. Shoaib Jamei.
I am not at all interested in discussing what is in Quran or not. I am interested in what is in the Constitution and what is the Constitution say.
So who will define what is essential practice, sir? Who will define essential practice?
This is not one way.
Can I respond to you?
Who will define what is essential practice, Mr. Jamei?
So many things written in Manusmriti. Manusmriti says that women can be independent.
And a lot of those things are not practiced. And a lot of those things are not practiced.
Mother?
A lot of those things are not practiced, sir.
But the thing is,
they will use something they like. They will impose their will on the majority community.
Sir, are certain rights not subject to reasonable restrictions?
Mockery of the democracy.
Even our freedom of speech, which we are all proud of, is subject to reasonable restrictions. Every law, every constitutional right has certain parameters within they have to be practiced.
Mother, may I?
How can you judge the weakness and the strong point of a girl on the basis what she wear or not? If you can't judge the modesty of girls, what she wear or not, how can you judge the girls what she wear or not?
You are doing it.
Their strong point will get education or not.
Okay. All right. But I want to ask that we have enough time. I don't know why we are engaging in a shouting match. I'm requesting all of you, please calm down. Allow me to conduct this debate. Ratan Sharda, Shoaib Jamei, all our panelists, I know all of you are very eager to talk. I understand this is an issue that is very close to everybody's heart, but let's please keep this orderly for the few minutes that we have left. I want to go across to Sanju Verma now. Sanju Verma, I have a question for you. 1 second, sir. 1 second, sir, please. We cannot have a debate like this. I am requesting all of you to calm down. We cannot have a debate like this. Lowering your fader now. Sanju Verma, my question is this, that while the petitioners may or may not be justified in making this statement, the fact is that this is part of the political discourse in Uttar Pradesh. Even Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath's statements as far as hijab are all out there. So somewhere or the other, even if these petitioners have a political intent and some of them are associated with the PFI, SDPI, I'm not discounting that, but the fact is that this is also part of the political discourse in Uttar Pradesh. Can that be denied?
That's a very pertinent question. I will say this. The fact that these students have been instigated by the PFI, by the SDPI and the Campus Front of India. Your channel has laid out so much by way of proof. It is out there in the public domain. If some hijab-clad women choose to be mute, deaf and dumb, God save them. The second point about what Yogi Adityanath said, to a specific query, he simply said we will not allow the Ghazwa-e-Hind narrative to be run in the country. And why are people not questioning Asaduddin Owaisi, who said एक दिन हिजाब पहनने वाली औरत इस देश की प्रधानमंत्री बनेगी? असदुद्दीन ओवैसी साहब, वो दिन कभी नहीं आएगा, 7 जन्मों में क्या 70 जन्मों में नहीं आएगा। आप सपने देखते रहिए। मुंगेरी लाल के हसीन सपने देखने का हक हर किसी को बनता है। The most important point, I will wrap up by saying this. Madhav, have you noticed these people who believe in hijab, they first start by saying we believe in the Constitution. We believe in the Supreme Court. We believe in the High Court. The moment the Supreme Court and the High Court say that hijab is not needed, Muslim Education Society, which runs 150 schools and colleges, banned hijab in Kerala in 2019. Now the point is that time they will say, "Arey hum Musliman khatre mein hain, hum dar gaye, Hindu hum par," they want to run down, the entire Muslim community. Please stop playing the victim card every time. Please stop playing victimhood. Please stop playing the, permanent persecution complex. Jisko hota hai na,
Right.
you suffer from persecution complex.
I want to come in here. Sanju Verma, you made an important point. You made an important point that you have seen the MIM chief Asaduddin Owaisi come and say there will be a hijab-clad woman as the Prime Minister of this country. And my question to Ifra Jan is this. One second, madam, 1 second. And this is a very pertinent question, Ifra Jan. It's very fine. Anybody can come and make out any statement. But where are the hijab-clad women or even any women in the official office bearers list of the MIM and other political parties such as the SDPI and the PFI? Where are they? Why are they so invisible?
Okay.
And how will they reach the highest office if they're not present there, even in these organizations, if they're not adequately represented?
Quranic conjunction.
Can I please speak? I am not the spokesperson of MIM, but when it comes to somebody covering her head and reaching a high office, I would want to remind the audience that our ex-president, Pratibha Devi Patel, used to cover her head and she did happen to reach become the president of India.
Madam, this is nobody is opposing hijab outside of school is the argument, right?
There is a difference between
Can we really have everyone not shout? Can you guys not shout me down? Thank you. So somebody,
Okay, let her make a point. Sanju, let her make a point. She's just started speaking. Mr. Sharda and Sanju, let her make a point. Yes.
Can you please ask her?
Okay, Sanju Verma, please allow her. It is not about dar. This is not about dar. But Ifra Jan, there is also the example of Justice Fatima Bibi, who would wear the hijab otherwise, but when she was in the courtroom, would take it off. So there are examples of that also. There are several other examples.
Listen, Madhav. Yeah. I hope that my fellow panelists show some basic manners and let me speak. I did not interrupt.
Go ahead, madam. Go ahead. Floor is yours. Please go ahead.
So thank you, Madhav. So coming to the question.
Sanju Verma, please, 1 minute. Sanju Verma, let us speak.
Shamelessness.
Sanju Verma, all right. I'm sorry. I tried very hard this evening, but unfortunately, our panelists just cannot agree to allow each other some basic modicum of respect. But I just have to leave it there for the moment. We're completely out of time. Thanks to all of you, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us this evening.